welcome to the WP-Tonic webinar for December. It's me and Spencer again. The title of this webinar is How to Connect Your Favorite CRM to Your WordPress site for Marketing Automation. Spencer's, we're gonna go through some basic steps about how to use launch flows, WordPress, WP Fusion, and probably we're going to use FluentCRM and combine that. So so you can build a modern day marketing automation funnel. And if you've got any questions, just put it into chat. If you're joining us live, we're also pushing this to Facebook Live as well. But being part of us, you have the opportunity to put your questions. I will be monitoring if there's any questions, and I'll be putting those to Spencer. Thanks for saying hello, Perry. So off you go, Spencer. How are we going to start this fascinating journey today?
Absolutely. Well, I think we've had two good webinars before, and they were very prepared. And I covered topics that for many people were very useful, but very fast paced. So today we're going to chill and we're going to focus on the core of almost every modern WordPress site today. Really involves marketing automation. Now, I'm going to tell you there's two ways to think of marketing automation. But first, let's just say as a definition, what is marketing automation? It is your ability to track users or visitors of your website to understand what they want, what they need, what they've done, and as a consequence, being able to feed back to them a customized response so that their journey is individual to them. The difference of that is significant in today's world of low attention span. If you think about it in terms of a newspaper or a movie or anything else, people's attention now are like 3 seconds. And if they don't get what they're looking for or what they're interested in, they're on to the next thing because we live in a world of abundance. Well, your website is the same way. If somebody comes to your website looking for a solution and they don't immediately get the things that resonate with them, you stand a chance of losing them. Also, it has to do with the checkout experience itself. If you've ever gone to the Home Depot and you're not a home builder, it's very challenging to look at the thousands upon thousands of items and figure out what things do I need versus somebody walking out of the store going, here, John, I hear you need a toilet repair kit. Here's the kit you need. So what marketing automation allows us to do is to understand what the person is there for, give them exactly what they need, even in the checkout flow. And the result is they're happier, they buy more, they end up coming back again or referring their friends to you because what you're really doing is solving their biggest pain, and their pain is unique to them, right? So marketing automation is done in two ways on WordPress, and they both have the same components, but I want you to understand the difference. There's marketing automation that has to do with while you're on the website, and there's marketing automation that has to do with, do I need to send you an email after you've left the website to get you to do something else? And the reason that's relevant is because one of the primary tools that we're going to talk about today is WP Fusion. And WP Fusion allows you to take your outside or internal CRM. And for simplicity, that definition is usually a customer relationship management tool. So in other words, something that lets you keep track of potential or actual customers, the things they've done. Because we can measure and track and record with tags or fields what somebody has done on your website, if in the future we want to contact them, the CRM gives us a powerful tool to do automations to follow up or just to physically follow up with simple emails. That's different than things we can do to automate while they're in the website. And things like that are, what can we do to measure and track and change the outcome of what people see based upon stuff they're doing on the website? For example, like somebody goes to a certain page, or they click a certain button, or they even choose to put a certain product in the cart. Those things, while they're on the website, can be used to change what happens next, but they may not be important to know about down the road, like a week or a month from now. Whereas if somebody bought a membership product and I gave them a tag, and that tag was stored in my CRM, that's really important for me to know that in my CRM, please tell me all the people that have the membership tag, because I need to tell them about something else that's happening. Okay. So when you're thinking about what we're doing today, the reason you're connecting a CRM is to keep track of the users who did stuff on WordPress in your CRM for automations or follow-up emails. But at the same time, there may be some tools that I'll show you. While those people are users in WordPress, we may still sort of do the same kind of stuff as tags would do, but we're going to do it more directly using one of the other plugins or one of the other components. Okay. All right. Concept-wise, what I've done here, I'm going to share my screen. This seems to have worked out pretty well last time. Am I allowed to share, or do you need to give me permission? I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to share my whole screen. Let me know if this comes through.
Yep, I can see.
Okay, cool. I'm using just a fresh setup over at Taste WP. We talked about that on the WP-Tonic show. So anybody who wants to play with the same stuff, I'm not pitching them at all, but it's just like a super convenient way you can throw a bunch of stuff together if you got the plugins and so forth. So I just threw together a setup. I'm going to use a few components today. The most important one is WP Fusion, which is the product that I directly support. It's Jack Arturo's plugin. It's very well known. It's the thing that allows you to connect any CRM, over 50 are supported, I think now, to your WordPress site, so that you have in the CRM something called a contact and something in WordPress is a user. Your user in WordPress is matched up with the contact so that you can keep track of things they've done, things they've clicked on, things they bought. And you keep track of it by way of using fields or tags. So let's talk about that first. To connect any CRM to WP Fusion, you simply put this WP Fusion plugin in place. And then, although this isn't organized, I'm actually going to install one plugin that helps me out. I'm going to go here to plugins, add new, and I'm going to put in a free plugin right now that's called the admin menu editor. This just lets me alphabetize stuff. Admin menu editor. This is a fun plugin. It's been around forever. And watch what it does. This has nothing to do with automation. It has to do with efficient use of your site. So add this in, click on it, and it will let me alphabetize the admin menu here, so I won't be looking like an old fuddy-duddy. So I just simply say there, alphabetized. Okay, cool. So now let's go to Settings, WP Fusion. When you install WP Fusion, there's a free version of the plugin and a paid version. This is the paid one, which allows you to connect different plugins together with tags, as well as to connect back from the CRM. The free version does some basics and it's worth trying out, but the paid one is good. We can choose whichever CRM we want. I'm actually going to choose, as you mentioned, Fluent here. But if you don't want to bother with any CRM and you just want to play, you can also go over here and choose an option called their staging site. That'll let you just use WP Fusion without connecting to anything. Okay, but I'm going to just use FluentCRM, which is my current favorite plugin-based CRM. You simply click on Connect, and congratulations, you're done, right? That's really simple. So what is this doing? WordPress has users. The CRM has contacts. Now, it's a sort of fine line difference, but a contact, think of as somebody to whom you want to market, whereas a user is somebody who's using your site, right? So we want to keep track of people with something called tags. In some of the CRMs like ActiveCampaign, we can actually create tags on the fly dynamically. With Fluent, we have to create the tags on our own up front. So the first thing we might do is go to Fluent, and it's got a very nice dashboard, super clean. I'm not sure what this is asking for. I'm going to say not right now. I haven't been through their setup. Here we go. So what we can do is we can add some basic tags. So we go to contacts, of which there's none because I haven't used it, and I go to tags. Think of a tag exactly like something you'd wear on your shirt if you were in the Army, or a movie theater ticket. It's a way to memorialize yes or no. I have this, I don't have this. I did this, I didn't do this. So one of the most popular tags would be purchasing something. So for example, I may say something like purchased membership product. And notice that the slug is, properly generated. I like about that. You don't need to use this internal subtitle, but you could. There's another one that I might say, can access member content. Now, one of the things I recommend is after you've gotten used to the idea of doing tags and using marketing automation, you'll become better at using a spreadsheet to sort of make a list of all the tags you need. And I use a semantical trick. I usually say the first word is what you're doing, and the second word is what you got. So purchased membership product, can access membership content. That way, if you look at these later down the road, you kind of will know what specifically it's doing. And when I use membership product, I'd probably be specific, purchased membership 123 product or something. Okay, so now I have a couple tags. Let's look at the basics of what goes on with marketing automation. The first thing that almost always is necessary, and we do this with launch flows, is you want to enroll somebody or register them into your site. Now, why would I do that versus adding them to the CRM? When you are starting a relationship with somebody very new, you probably don't want to register and log them into your website. You want to just put them into your CRM and use the normal forms and you're good to go. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that here, but FluentCRM has, just like every CRM, its own forms, which you can use to create a very simple, beautiful, here, give me your email and I'll send you something for it. When people do that, they will be in there for future email. But that's different than putting them in your website. When we want to register, go ahead.
Just got a quick question, but I don't want to reflect you too much off track. With Fluent CRM, do you know do they offer any kind of integration with some of the more popular form plugins like Gravity Forms or WP Forms?
Well, the cool thing is it makes no difference, because if you're using WP Fusion, you can import or bring in somebody using any forms you wish, Gravity, Element, or whatever, and they will end up in your CRM. But having said that, one of the best things I like about Fluent CRM is their form builders. So for example, just to close that topic, if I turned on the first form and if I did not need to register and log somebody in yet, I could add them only to my CRM. Okay. Think of the CRM only people as cold leads, warm prospects, people who have not said, Spence, I want to do business with you yet. So this is like early dating relationship kind of people, but I want them on my list so I can continue to email them and stuff. So here's, like, for example, their simple templates, very elegant and beautiful, no big deal. But, onboard someone to CRM. I can add them to a list. I can create a new list. I can do double opt-in or not. The point is I can also give them a tag, but just something as simple as this, I probably have to create my main list first, is enough to get them on board. If, on the other hand, I want to do business with them. If I want to do business with somebody, then I really want to register them and log them into WordPress. Why? Because when they're registered and logged into WordPress, they can interact with these other couple plugins we're going to talk about, as well as WP Fusion. And I can literally measure that individual person's behavior on the website. So unlike, let's say, using Google Analytics, where it says some anonymous stranger clicked on your sales page. Here, if they're registered and logged in, I know, oh, Jonathan Denwood visited this sales page. Look, I gave him a tag. And oh, he filled out that he likes chocolate and he's from Nevada. And so I can build a dossier about the person and their behavior, which can then be used to go, I have a new chocolate product from the mountains of Nevada. I wonder who I should market to. Probably that Jonathan guy. So it allows me to get more interactive with what the person is doing and keep track of it, but also then respond back. So let's talk about that. If you wanted to register and log somebody in, the easiest way to do it is really to give them a free transaction, a free product in WooCommerce using Launch Flows. Launch Flows has a a really handy feature we built for this purpose, where let's say they're beyond the need of just being a stranger in your CRM. We can just make a free product and immediately, with no other work, give them a very simple, here you go, here's your first name, last name, email. They not only get the deliverable, like your lead magnet, and they not only get redirected where you want, but now you also, they're inside the site, they get a tag, they get added to the CRM. Okay, so let's see how we set that up. If we go back for a second to where we were a moment ago, settings, WP Fusion. The choice that we make here really should be active in most cases, which is create a new contact in our CRM whenever somebody registers for WordPress. How are we going to register for them for WordPress? Well, there's a couple ways, but the simplest way, as I just mentioned, is let's sell them a free product. Let's ideally do it with launch flows so it doesn't look like anything more than a basic, really clean form. And in doing so, I will get them in, get them into the CRM, give them a tag. And if I want, I can also give them something special, like a free lead magnet. Okay, so here's how we do it. First thing I would do is go into WooCommerce, where a product is made, or I'll make the product. Let's just make sure we have the basics of WooCommerce set up. I haven't done any of the normal, full setup of WooCommerce, but at least let's just put United States so it doesn't ask me weird questions at checkout about pounds and so forth. So United States, and we'll go Illinois. Okay, and the other stuff I won't worry about too much, but let's make sure we've at least got a checkout page, a cart, and a My Account. Now we won't need the cart, but we do need the checkout. Next, let's go ahead and make a product for that instant registration. So with WooCommerce, we have products, add new, and I'm simply going to call this free registration product. You can call it anything you want. Here, it's going to be a simple product because it's just a one-time deal, virtual. And I'm actually going to click downloadable because in this case, I want it to just instantly complete. So if I want, I can use a plugin that auto completes things, but this is another way to do the same thing. Now there's a couple screens here I can use. With launch flows, we have options now. If I want, I could go to the trouble of making a custom checkout page for this product that has all the layout I want. But I'm going to shortcut and not even bother with that. I'm going to use the default checkout page that already exists because I'm going to use a feature here of launch flows, the instant registration product. By clicking this box, what it does is it strips out all the other shenanigans on that page and just shows me the form that I need to see. Okay. I also probably want to use the option here called solo checkout, which is going to mean that this is the only product that can be bought by itself. Because in case you have other products on your site, you don't want it to be a weird thing where they're trying to register for free, but you've got $100 thing in the shopping cart. That's incompatible with the purposes of this. I'm not going to bother with it, but typically I would put an icon or some other image on here so it looks nice and it shows up nice. WP Fusion allows me, if I want, to apply a tag. Now, this is important. If I'm adding them to the CRM, I can automatically give them a tag at the point they're added to the CRM. This is usually where I would do it if I wanted to know they specifically bought a specific product. In this case, the registration product. So what I would probably do is let's go ahead and make one more tag for the two that we previously made. Let's make one more tag under tags that says, registered with free product. And the only reason this might be relevant to me would be maybe in the future, I want to market specifically to people who came through a particular registration form. Okay.
Or your free lead magnet.
My free versus my Facebook ad or versus my Instagram something. Yeah. I mean, this is like the UTM, but supercharged because I can segment.
So can I just recap what you've done? So, because I can act like hopefully the people that have joined us. So fundamentally, you've installed WP Fusion, you've installed launch flows, and you got FluentCRM. You've set up free tags in FluentCRM, and you've linked it to WP Fusion. and now you've gone into launch flows and you're setting that up. I don't think you've set it up.
I'm using WooCommerce with launch flows to make a free product, which I'm using launch flows as component called instant registration, which you'll see in a minute.
And then you're making the product. You're setting up in the back end the product and the lead magnet, which is normally a downloadable PDF. But now you're probably, I'm surmising this, you're going to go on and make the actual landing page where they register, and then they're probably emailed the PDF. Am I correct?
You are correct, but I want to go back to what we talked about at the beginning, which is important. If your purpose is to market to people who are cold leads, warm prospects, but people to whom you don't feel you're like needing to immediately sell anything to, then you're better off just doing your lead magnet directly through a Fluent form with the Fluent CRM, where they give you their email and instantly are given the PDF. That will put them into your CRM, and it doesn't require any registration and login because there's no benefit to you then. If you think of marketing online with WordPress like dating, okay? If you're going on your first date, you're going to meet somebody at a coffee shop, see if you look at each other and there's chemistry, maybe stay for a couple minutes, say hello, and leave. That's marketing with your CRM directly, right? Give me your email. I'll give you a freebie. Let's see if there's any chemistry. If after the second or third date, you realize like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner. All right. That's like registering and logging them into WordPress, because now, hey, this dinner might lead to something. You know what I mean? There might be a sale at the end of this free onboarding. So what I'm doing here is using now a free product through WooCommerce, simplified with launch flows, so that not only, as you're correct, not only can I register and log them in, but I will take them to an offer. So the chances are good. I'm not going to.
I understand. So to recap, we've probably done the lead marketing.
We've done the lead magnet
through using FluentCRM.
Yeah.
Then so we've got a list of people that have signed up for the lead magnet. So then we're offering them to move the relationship onto a low value paid, maybe a paid product,
like a tripwire, a $7 product, or a sample of your paid course.
So you initially got them in with your lead magnet, and now you're trying to build the relationship by offering them a low price paid product, and then hopefully you can move them on to other products or services that might be higher ticketed.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't turn out that I'm offering them a tripwire now, the point I'm moving them on is that the relationship has gone from, I just met you, I don't know if I like you, to, wow, I'd really like to hang out with you. And eventually something big is going to happen for both of us, right? I'm going to solve your pain. You're going to love that. And you're going to pay me money. It doesn't have to happen at this moment, but that's the point of putting you inside of WordPress, because now I can track and measure all of the things you view and click and buy and do. And I can know better how to please you with the products that offer a solution to your pain, right? And so that's the reason to waste the energy of putting somebody into WordPress, is that it's easily done in the regular CRM if all you're going to do is email them and give them free PDF downloads. But once you need to do more, this is how we do it, okay? So if we go back to where we were on that product and go to WP Fusion, now we can see that registered with free product is available. So I'm going to set this up as a tag that somebody will get when they buy this, okay? And again, I don't need to do it, but I would probably jazz this up with more details about what it is and so forth. Specifically, I would probably put like a product image on here or something. I'm not going to bother with that as much, although just by way of argument, there's a site called Pexels that gives free images. So if I wanted to, I could like literally just grab something for product images, you know, and you can use them any way you want. So like, let's say, for example, I'll grab this picture here. Okay, so save image as on my desktop. And then I could just use that just because it looks nicer when you're doing anything in your checkout, if you're even going to bother. So I'll just pop that in. And now let's see what happens. What launch flows lets you have happen, and I'm going to hide this so I can see the screen. What launch flows lets you have happen, which is unique, is two things. First of all, we can customize the default behavior of WooCommerce, even if we're using the regular checkout page. But we can also create custom checkout pages if we want that would allow us to have different experiences for different product sales funnels. So I'm right now just going to use the default checkout, but I want you to understand that you could create an unlimited number of checkout pages with launch flows, each of them with a specific purpose. So let's go, before we finish this out, let's go to the stock checkout page. In order to make this work with launch flows, whether you're in Gutenberg or Classic, it's very simple. All you need to do is go to the page attributes and you select launch flows canvas or launch flows full width. Canvas has literally no header and footer. It's kind of like a blank canvas, and full width does. And that by itself is enough to activate what you need. If you already had WooCommerce checkout shortcode on the page, you don't need that, so you can get rid of it because the launch flows page attribute takes care of it. Now, out of the box with nothing else in it, launch flows will allow you to have certain modifications for this particular product that's free. So let's take a look. Let's make sure this is updated because you know how much I love Gutenberg. And let's go and look at the actual checkout page itself. Anybody who's used WooCommerce realizes like, oh, okay, yeah, this looks pretty much the same. I'm using the Astra theme, which has an effect on it, but you know, that's stock stuff. So let's do two things. Let's go back into our dashboard. Let's close this page. Let's go back to our dashboard and let's set up one thing here in launch flows. There's very few settings globally you need to make, but one of them I want to set up here is kind of useful. I can choose what's the default width of my standard page. And if you have a theme like Hello theme or something else, you might want to just set the width of the checkout contents to something like 1200. I probably want to enable these other four options, which also will just sort of simplify my experience as a user. Because when I register for free, I don't really need to get a free email that says, hey, I just bought a free product. So this and this will turn those off. And these other ones will just make sure that launch flows behaves more like a sales funnel tool. Okay, so that's all you need to do for setup. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we finish this checkout with our new product in it. But wait, actually one more thing I want to do. Even without customizing the page, maybe I want to change the wording of the checkout button. So instead of it saying place order, probably it should say, you know, register for free. So even though I'm not doing anything with the custom layout of launch flows, this by itself also makes it that this otherwise, you know, pretty standard page will do exactly what we want, but also that the button will show what we need. Okay, so how is this going to change? Well, with launch flows, all you need to do is take your free product and use our direct checkout link. I go to the product that's free, I copy it. Anywhere I put this on a button on my site, a Facebook ad, or whatever, it will throw the person across the internet to that checkout page, adding the free product in and showing what we needed to show, which will be our free checkout, okay? So in order for this to work as we wish, we wanna make sure that we've got everything configured and we're ready to go. So let's do, one other thing I wanna do to set up here is I wanna make sure we set the permalinks, which I noticed I didn't set. If you've ever created a new website, please always set your permalinks. Notice it's set for day and time. This is unrelated to today's topic, but if you're setting up a website, I always go with like post name and maybe custom base and just click this once, because if those aren't set, things will not go where they're supposed to go. And one last thing too, because again, we're just doing this from scratch. I'm going to set up my WooCommerce with that dollars instead of pounds. Not that it matters, but dollars. US dollars. Come on, there we are, US dollars. Okay. Okay, so let's do this again. let's go ahead and go to our product that we had created, which is this free registration product. And we're going to grab the direct to checkout link. And let's just paste it in this page. And let's see, again, failure to launch. What's going on? Something isn't sending it in there. So let me just check my settings. Oh, I'm sorry. Somehow I didn't save the dollar price. Maybe when I changed from pounds. Okay. Let's try it one more time. There we go. Okay. So a couple things I want to point out here. Number one, always configure your WordPress and your product. As you can see, I mean, I just whipped this together while we're doing it, but it doesn't take a lot of time. Just be careful you've covered all your bases. Free product, 0, set the currency, and so forth. You'll notice that now what we've got is, you know, we haven't styled this website. This is ugly. It's got the weird footer and stuff. But I'm saying what we have on this site and on this page is essentially the basics of like you might have if you're using a CRM onboarding form, except what this is going to do is actually going to register and log somebody in and also give them the tag. And if we want, as I'll show you in a second, take them where we want them to go. Now, one last thing I might do, even if I'm just using this free thing, is let's just choose a different Astra setup. Astra is convenient because, see, it lets us disable the title and the breadcrumbs and this and that. If we wanted, we could change the width of the page. We could get rid of the footer. All those kinds of customizer things you can do with whatever theme you're using. Feel free to do. But let's just actually use this now and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is let's go to the checkout page where the product is there. Now I got rid of some of the, you know, fluff around it. Let's open this in incognito so that we can see what happens. And Jonathan, tell me if this incognito is showing. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
All right. So now I'm not logged in as me. I'm logged in as the administrator, right? So let's do what we just did where I take the product link, and this would probably go, you know, maybe you're on your home page or maybe in your email, you're going to say, click this button to get the, you know, blah, blah, blah. Let's do Tom Jones, tom@jones.com. We don't need the phone number, and we can hide this field if we want. Register for free is going to take them, register them, and drop them off sort of blank. There's nothing that's happening because we didn't set it up yet. But I want you to notice that I am registered and logged in. Oh, in that case, I wasn't. Let's see what happened. Hold on. Let's try it again. Well, we're having a potential problem with this, so let's try it. That's embarrassing. Let's see what happens when we try it on our logged in site. I may need to just try one of the other settings, but we'll see. Could be because I'm on this, I never actually tried this. I'm on this tastewp.com site. So I want to give myself a little wiggle room here. It may not be allowing me to register new users, and I just don't know about that because I've never used this to register more than one person. And I think that's what's happening here. So my apologies. I'll show you this on a regular server, but let me see if this actually put the person in there. Oh, it does not. Okay, so let me just show you real quick how this is supposed to work when we're not on this demo server. If I just go to my other test site, when somebody were to register normally on WordPress using any of these methods, and we go to the back end, they will become a user and they will be put into the My Account area of WordPress. So they will show up in two places. They will show up as a user here, of course, and they will also show up into your My Account dashboard by default. Okay, so I'm gonna have to bear with this because I didn't realize until we started this that this isn't gonna let me register new people. So let's pretend that, for the sake of argument, that the person is not wanting to be taken to their My Account dashboard, but instead, like we were talking about, I want to take them to a sales page or something. So rather than them being logged in here, let's set it up slightly differently. So I'm going to take them somewhere when they buy the product. And all I have to do for that is I go into the very same setup of launch flows, and I just say, where do I want to take them as a next step, as a thank you? Now, it doesn't literally mean thank you. It means like, instead of showing them, thank you, you just bought this, where do I want them to go? In this case, this would be a great opportunity to offer an upsell or offer an initial product to buy or offer a sample of a free course. So for example, if I did that, I could add a page here and I could use my page builder or not. I could say, you know, this is a new offer. I could also use WP Fusion, and this is the important part. If we scroll down on this page with WP Fusion, I can now have what we call a content restriction, and I can also offer a reward. The restriction could say, you can only see this if you have a certain tag. What would that tag be? That would be the registered with free product. If you didn't have that because you didn't come in this way, you wouldn't be allowed to see this offer or this content. The next thing I can do is I can measure, did somebody actually show up at this page? And how do I know that? Well, I can use this. I can apply a tag when the user visits this page. And this could be a simple tag or it could be a complex tag. So if I were to go back into my CRM and invent a new tag, I might do something like, you know, viewed my, you know, registration offer. Whatever the case may be, when somebody visits this page, that will automatically give them a tag, and I'll be able to know in the future that that's what they've accomplished. Okay, so let's, for the sake of argument, not protect this for a moment. And let's just see what happens when we do the normal redirect, which is if we add the thank you page here that we just created, this is a new offer. We will now see that as a dropdown we can choose from in launch flows. And let's just do it right here. Okay. So what I've done here, and again, for simplicity, we don't have to belabor it, is with any product, after they've actually done the transaction and registered and logged in, by default, they'll be taken normally to the My Account area. If not, you can tell the product itself, where should they go? And in this case, I'm saying, let's take them to a page that has an offer. That offer could be protected or otherwise, you know, prevented from being viewed, or even maybe as an alternative, using WP Fusion on the page, or this is my favorite, with WP Fusion's ability to show different content based upon the tag you have. So for example, what you could do is something like this. You could have one offer here. This is offer you see if you did register. And then we could do the same thing with an alternative here. This you see if you didn't register with that other link. Now, how do I differentiate the two of these to show one or the other? I simply click on the widget. I go to Advanced and Elementor. I go to WP Fusion, and there I have some choices. I say this is only available if you're logged in. And then I say, okay, this is the offer you see if you're registered. So in order to see this, I need that registration tag. This one, I don't want to show that way. So I do the opposite. I click on Advanced, WP Fusion, only if you're logged in, and I say, do not show this if you have this registered with free product tag. And so what will happen is somebody who registered properly will see this offer here, which again could be a Launch Flows product offer. How do I do that? I can use one of the Launch Flows widgets, like our Launch Flows upsell widget. And I can put that in place. And here I could grab a new product. And you know, stop me if I'm adding too much stuff at once because I'm throwing a lot out there. But let me just make a new product, upsell product. Maybe this is that thing, like we said, is $7 or something. It's a course. Okay. And just by putting that in place, I can just make product number 22 available here. I just say this upsell product should show up here. And I can add, you know, I can add an image and jazz this up. Over here, I have consolation prize. Maybe it's just an image or something. And I can say, you know, wah, wah, wah. All right. So the way we can test this is WP Fusion. When you're in the administrator option, you can set it up where you can actually view it as if you had the right tags or not. And so what I love about that is you can set up this Taste WP is a little fussy today, so forgive me. I never really went through this, but it's making me look bad today. So I'm going to have to just describe this one. What you can do is set it up so that when you are the administrator, there'll be a link at the top that allows you to turn on tags. You can see it here on my other site, preview with tags, and allow me to see if, you know, I'm looking at content one way or the other. Okay, so let's come back to center though, because I feel like we went down a couple paths. Let's talk again, why are we doing this? We're doing it so that when somebody does something on the site and they get a tag, it will keep track of it, not only in the user's area, but in the CRM. And why do we need that? Well, if we go back to our CRM dashboard, remember we talked at the very beginning about marketing and following up. I have two contacts here. Ironically, Tom Jones was created, even though it wouldn't let me actually create the user, it did create the CRM contact. If I want to look at any particular group of people and segment them out, I can see, notice Tom Jones has a tag, registered free product. I could create an email campaign, or I could create an automation that does different things based upon which tags people have, right? Please tell me all the people who registered for free and who started my course, but only got to lesson number 1 because I want to send them an email, or I want to post something on the website directed at them. And this is essentially how we now can segment out those people based upon what they've done in the past. How we doing so far as like keeping this real? Because I
thought you've done a really excellent job so far, because I think you've really, especially when you show that using the power of the tagging with launch flows in Elementor, that quite easily you can set up a dynamic page.
Okay, well let's
two different outcomes based upon the action of the client, prospect, whatever you want to call them. Right. I think you just kind of peeled away a little bit about the real power of this system, because I felt with that you achieved something quite important, because I feel there's a lot of talk about marketing automation, and as far as it gets, it's just really just linked to lists, and you send out one message to one list and you send out a message. But with that example you've just shown, let's
talk about lists, actually, because that's a good point, because it's right here. Now, in the old days, a couple of years ago, MailChimp still does this, by the way, and certain CRMs still do it. People would be bounced onto various lists based upon what they did, which is a very one-dimensional way of doing things. If you think about it, it's like using a file cabinet where every time somebody does something, you put a piece of paper with their name on it in a different file folder. After a while, you have 5,000 file folders or 5,000 lists, and you're like, oh my gosh. You'll notice I don't even have a list here. If anything, a list should be used for one website or one business. So I would probably create just, you know, my main list, and that's it. I only have one list of every contact is going to be on that list. But with tags, we can do lots of cool follow-ups, not only emails, but like, let's talk about the automations, right? So in Fluent, if I go to automations,
I just want to quickly butt in, because I think the point you've just made there is so important. So I want to emphasize it to the people that are joining us live, and also the people that are going to be watching this when the recording of this webinar, is that's the crucial point. It's that crucial jump from getting and I'm just as guilty of this. I have a mindset that was set up in the idea of lists, but by dropping the metaphor list and having just one list and really committing yourself to tagging, and then you can really start using the power of WP Fusion and launch flows and the other tools. That's the crucial, I was going to say intellectual, but it's not really. It's just a change of mindset, isn't it, Spencer?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the takeaway here that I want to give to people, it's really important. When we started today, even though we're being very casual, I want you to understand that there's foundational decisions that if you follow some of the things I'm suggesting, will keep you out of the weeds later. So whatever you build will not have a problem. By using one main list and not trying to have multiple lists, if your CRM supports it, like we're talking Fluent, This allows you to essentially have a list that's like a gigantic pot of prospects. And instead of trying to like figure out which list somebody's on, I could just go to, as we'll talk about, the tags, use those in an automation to figure out who is who. So let's just finish the sentence by going to automations. I can create an automation that has a trigger that says, send email to people who registered free. Okay. I can use either a form, which isn't what I want to do, or I can use a WordPress trigger, or I think I have to actually activate, real quick the CRM trigger here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I have to go to Fluent settings, tools, maybe it's in here. Hold on. I'm not sure if I'm in the right spot, but I've got to set up, oh man. I forgot how to set up the thing. So I can show you on my other side of things where you set up the CRM as a trigger where they got a particular tag. And my apologies, but because I did this like really, really quickly, I think I may need the CRM Pro. Let me just do with the regular user trigger as an automation. So let's say we go back here to automations. People who registered for free. Next time I'm gonna probably use my own hosting, but that's fine. I'm gonna say here, WordPress trigger, new user signed up. With their optional CRM integration, what I'll actually be able to do is say somebody who has a tag of what we just gave them when they bought that free product. Points being is that now that this is triggered, I can do any number of things, including send them an email. I can, give them a new tag and so forth. And the point is that this is the way we differentiate between each individual person's journey, because
can I give, because I think the more we give real world examples, so what occurred to me, because obviously I with WP-Tonic we support learning management systems, so it's in top of my mind. So let's say you've attracted somebody with a lead magnet, then you move them on to let's say a very low price course, and that's right. And that's our example, our starting example, and then they've joined the course, the low price course, and let's say it's one course of 6 lessons, right, or 3 lessons, and they've got on to lesson 2, but they haven't moved. Then there's been a month or a week, and they haven't logged in for over a week to finish the course. Let's say it's a 3 lesson course. By using the tagging system and the examples you're showing, we can then send a email or a series of like 2 to 3 emails to that person, encouraging them to come back to the course and finish off the low price course, which exactly. Then by finishing it off, then at the end of that low price course, we can offer them a more expensive course, can't we?
Exactly, because if we harken back to the page that I was showing you, any page or any page builder component can allow you to give a tag when somebody has seen it or clicked it and so forth. So what is happening is you're building up a dossier with each contact of the things that they've seen or clicked or done, right? So our visitor, Tom Jones, may have, viewed the offer, bought the offer. There's all these tags. We can then use those as a way of measuring where somebody is at. The one you just mentioned is you're in the middle of a LearnDash course or a Lifter course, and you get to lesson 6. You can literally see the person has started lesson 6, but hasn't taken the quiz yet. And those can be available as tags in order to create an automation that is based upon, do they have the tag yet of this or that or the other thing, right?
Yeah, I think I was the example I was utilizing was a very basic one, but I think what you're saying is that because I wanted it to show a real life example how you use the power tagging, but what you're saying is after that, but you can and which is a great example. What you've just done is you can just build on basic and build on top of top and get very sophisticated different pathways depending on the usage of your website, either learning management system or WooCommerce or whatever the case that we're dealing with. Would that be correct, Spencer?
Yeah, exactly. And let me see, because I think in my demo site, I've got the components for CRM set up, so I can show you some alternatives to, or better examples of what we're talking about. So let me see if I actually have FluentCRM set up here. Oh, I got it. Okay, so I do. So let me show you a comparative. Inside of FluentCRM, once you got their CRM tools and so forth set up, let's look at some of these contacts. Maybe I've got somebody. They've got a dossier of various things, purchase beef jerky, purchase the beef jerky subscription, and so forth. If I wanted to create an automation based upon that here, I now have the ability to use those tags in a variety of ways. Here's what I was trying to refer to. When I've installed the Pro, I guess it is, I get the CRM tool, right? So let's say, as you say, we were talking about, they did something or not, right? Purchase beef jerky, right? So segment of people who bought beef jerky, because I want to know who already has this product, because I've just come up with a brand new beef jerky thing I want to send to those people who obviously love this product because they bought something similar. And I can say, what is the trigger? And the thing is that they've got a tag applied that is relevant to me, right? Which is purchase beef jerky. So here's what will happen.
To give the example to the listeners and viewers,
so here,
what Spencer's trying to point out, that could be a low price introductory product you've done a special offer on.
It could be,
or it could be a course, the introductory low price course, and because they've bought it or they've done the course, then we can apply an additional tag that says that they've done something else, which then can lead to a series of other events.
Right, like this.
Yeah.
These are people who bought the one-time beef jerky sample or got it for free, and now I want to sell them the subscription, okay? So I'm looking for anybody that has the tag of purchase beef jerky. That was applied at the time they went through, just like we talked about before. Register and log in for free, or otherwise register and I'll send you the beef jerky product. If it was a membership course, obviously it would be easier because it's virtual. But if you bear with me, this now says pull out any people who have that tag. And what do I want to do? I would probably want to send them an email offer, or I would probably want to give them a different tag so that they would be able to access maybe a special price on the beef jerky product, the subscription. Like, for example, WP Fusion and LaunchFlows both have what we call dynamic discounts. If you've already bought the beef jerky sampler, I'm going to give you a 50% discount on your first subscription order, right? So in order to do that, I would just say, okay, here's the people who have got the tag of sample beef jerky. What do I want to do to them? Okay, send them an email. Do I want to apply a new tag? What would the new tag be? The new tag would be, 50% discount tag and stuff. And in doing so, you get this really interesting, I don't have to do the whole thing here, but you get this really interesting sort of step-by-step way to build an automation funnel of what you can do with that particular group of people in your sales journey. And it also works out when you're talking about things like using launch flows, because if I, for example, show you some of these pre-made ones, when somebody is, let's say, in the middle of their journey, like this is a step-by-step journey. Here is the first offer. They take the $20 sample product. Of course, I got to get them registered and logged in. I save their credit card, but watch what happens. After they do that, they're immediately given an upsell after the checkout. Do you want to get the bigger product? Yes or no? And either way, it's a one-click, auto checkout. But what's happening on the back end is that I'm giving people tags. They get a tag for that they went to the sales funnel page. They get a tag that they clicked yes or no on the offer, accept or decline. They get a tag for what they actually purchased. And if they filled out those custom fields, like for example here in this donation widget, I can add custom field data about them. Like fill out like your honorarium field or fill out more information about your company or whatever. So even inside of the actual process, I collect tags of what they did and I collect custom field data about the person, not the least of which is their address and email and their payment, but also stuff about them individually. And all of that adds up to the ability for me to, with a very simple set of tools, be able to deliver a very unique experience for anybody going forward, because these people always be inside of my CRM, and they'll actually, and I want to show you this, they'll actually, let me do it over here. They'll actually always be in your WordPress side of things too. So look what happens when I go to,
actually, Spencer, we're coming up to the hour now, and I like to give the opportunity to the people that are joining us live. I see that they haven't put any questions in, and hopefully they've been listening. So I think we've done you have done an excellent job of showing some of the fundamentals, but it's like peeling away the curtain, and I think we've done a good job of really giving some real ideas into people with the set of tools that we've been using, that you can really, by some basic steps, you can start to really build some very sophisticated marketing funnels at a very much lower price than using some of the SaaS-based tools. Now, listeners, have you got any questions? If you want to put them in now, I can quickly ask them. But what let's give the people that are joining us live the chance to do that. But in the meantime, what are some of the fundamental finishing points that you would like to make connected to this?
This is a good experiment. Well, first of all, not like, I do everything without a net anyway, but like, my apologies that I tried this new service, Taste WP, and I didn't realize it only let me register one person. So thankfully,
you're a very brave person. That's all I'm going to say.
Bore with me when I flipped over to my other site because I already had set up. And I also didn't realize that with FluentCRM, which is an outstanding choice, there's 40, 50 CRMs available that you can connect to WordPress with WP Fusion. ActiveCampaign is a very strong choice, ActiveCampaign Lite. You can also use other, powerhouses like SalesForce and Infusionsoft, but they're overpriced for what you need. You just need the basic capability. So I'm actually very fond of what FluentCRM is doing.
Yeah, I think Fluent, but it's been a new entry, but I've added it to the arsenal, what WP-Tonic provides. But I think it looks really promising. And also, I think the two that I think Fluent is promising and ActiveCampaign is a steady, you're very familiar with it.
Here's how we break it down. And I'm being transparent. Fluent has only been around for a very, very short time.
Couple of months?
Couple months, yeah. And the CEO is very proactive. They got a team of 20 developers. They're Fluent form. Everything is tight, but they're the first to say, look, give us a chance. We just started. Here's how I break it down. The advantages and disadvantages of using something like a ActiveCampaign versus a Fluent. If you use ActiveCampaign or one of the standard SaaS products, especially ActiveCampaign, right now it's dynamic tags, so you don't have to pre-make the tags. You can just do them on the fly, which is fun. It's stable for most people. You only need to use the light version of it. You can just literally, you don't have to pay for Pro. You can get the $9 a month or $15 a month if you pay monthly version of it. If you had an existing business that had a lot of customers and you had multiple websites where you wanted like one CRM to cover all of your sites, ActiveCampaign is still our first choice. On the other hand, if you are starting out with the basics of automation, you only have one business website in WordPress because Fluent's in that website. It can't like cover 3 websites. It covers the one it's on. Fluent is extremely exciting to me because we've seen other attempts at doing like a plugin based CRM, and they're definitely doing it correct because as you just saw, even in my very short demo, all you needed to do is you needed to act as a repository for marketing automation. those two things mean like keeping track of contacts tags and fields, and then being able to send out customized automatic responses or doing a reciprocal add new tags. Everything else can be done with the other components of WordPress. And so I didn't get the chance to do all of that here. It's just 1 hour. But my point is, it's an attractive option for somebody at that level. Things that it can't do could probably happen in the future. You know, marketing across multiple sites, doing complex filtering, you know, cleaning your lists, blah, blah, blah. You also do with Fluent want to connect to your own.
It's a balance, isn't it? Because obviously the more functionality you add to a product, the more complicated it gets, the bigger the learning curve in some ways. So it's using the right tool at the right time, isn't it? Is the half the battle.
The goal that I see the goal that I see here is simple. You need to connect your own SMTP service to make Fluent work with emails. But that's the best part about it, because with WordPress, you really already should have an SMTP connected to it, you know, through your host or whatever. Why go to the trouble of having two different services if you're really just sending out some basic marketing stuff? So final takeaway is this. I only showed you a fraction of some things. And again, a couple next
month, hopefully we'll build on it. But we haven't had anybody ask us any questions, which is fair enough. Hopefully you will go to the WP-Tonic Facebook page if you've been listening to us, either through the Facebook page or joining us live through the webinar, and leave a review of, give us some feedback about if you found this valuable. We really do appreciate any kind of feedback you can give us. I think it's coming close to where we wrap this up. Spencer, and I think you've done, even though you're brave, using Taste Live straight away, I think what I got from it, the honest feedback, is that you really gave, you kind of pulled that curtain, you know, and you showed really why you should move away from lists, use tags, and what you could build and achieve through some very free or very low price WordPress alternatives. You know, you could build very sophisticated systems, can't you?
I mean, my one paragraph summary of all this is simple. What I've been working on directly, both supporting WP Fusion, writing launch flows, working with all these plugin authors over the last 15 years, has led to WordPress now has the ability to be a platform for everything you want to do, just like a ClickFunnels or Kartra or Kajabi or any of those things, but with a huge benefit. If you stick to a very small set of plugins, most of which I covered here, along with your favorite page builder like Elementor, you can own and control your fully formed marketing automation, e-commerce membership system that doesn't require you to pay $300 a month in rent or more. And like you said, all of the components we're doing almost like a consortium. Those of us who make the stuff, we're doing it where our stuff works together, kind of like electronics. They all plug together with the same cord, so that you don't have to worry about the 54,000 other plugins. You just use this stack of stuff. For those who need help, I'm available for the free call that I give to everybody over at launchflows.com or WPLaunchify.com. And that's how my relationship starts with everybody who comes from WP Fusion, because 99% of people's pain is because they just never had anybody show them which Lego blocks go together.
I'd like to recap. Spencer's the marketing automation guru, and he specializes in consultation. WP-Tonic, we specialize in learning management systems and membership. We build, support, and provide hosting, all in one easy to sign up package. And we try and remove some of the pain of utilizing WordPress. We're going to wrap it up now, folks. We'll see you next month. Can't believe that will be in the new year. I want to wish you a really happy Christmas and a new year. And we'll be back the second Friday in January. And I think we'll move the journey on, and we'll look at something even a little bit more powerful and slightly more complicated. But I think this has been an excellent webinar. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.